Hey, this is Matt once again. What about your videos? Another paid request, this time from Mr. Leeman. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, commenters, reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And yeah, this is for Jason and the Argonauts from 1963. Now, of course, I had heard of this film for many years. First time I actually got around to seeing it. And I will say I didn't mind it, but it was mostly for the Ray Harryhausen stop motion effects. I'm a sucker for stop motion. I know it might not look the most fluid in reality, but there's something about it that has still that physicality and that charm. And then the first movie I ever saw that had that featured, I forget who did the animation though. I forget his name, but Team Cohen, the 1930s. Cannot believe I forgot the person who animated it, but I know people like Ray Harryhausen were very influenced by that. But the 1930s Team Cohen I really enjoy, and like I said, even though there's jittery movements, but his was still physical. There's still a certain reality and, like I said, charm to it. And going throughout, seeing bits of stop motion, some of the Evil Dead films, and I think there was one called The Deadly Spawn, even the TV show Robot Chicken, let alone the Ray Harryhausen stuff like this. Like I said, I always liked seeing that. It's always fun to see. It might not be as good as practical effects, but I definitely, for me, put it over CGI. So the story of the film is you have this guy named Pelias who, for the god Zeus, he's going to take over this kingdom. And he's told that one day this guy, Jason, the son of the king you're going to destroy, he's going to take revenge and get your ass. And he's like, well, fuck that. Well, he doesn't know which kid at first. He says one of the kids. And he's like, fine, I'll kill all of them. And he's told, don't do that. Don't worry about it. But he doesn't listen. So at one point, a daughter of the king goes into a temple of Hera, the queen of the gods, and wants protection and asks like 5 times for protection. But Pelias goes in, kills her. Hera don't like that. He's like, you piece of shit. You profane my temple. Your ass is grass. Hell, I'll even tell you, Jason is going to be the one that's going to take care of your sorry ass. There'll be a one-sandaled guy at the time of your unmaking. And then she's going to protect Jason from here on out. So cut to many years later, Pelias is ready to be drowned. Jason doesn't know who this guy is, but just saves him because he's a good-hearted guy. But Pelias knows who he is. So one thing leads to another, and kind of helps convince Jason to go on this journey to get the Golden Fleece. Because Jason says if I get the Golden Fleece, it'll rally support against Pelias. As Golden Fleece can heal people and will bring peace. And he's going to go on this journey and get this group of people and get this ship and go on their merry way. He gets a visit from the gods saying, hey, good luck to you. Hera, to protect you, was up to 5 times. Like you didn't ask her something. Get her help 5 times. And then gets into Jason makes up these games to get the best crew. I kind of wish that was a bit longer. I felt like that was a bit rushed. But he does get like Hercules, Hylas, Argus to build the ship, which is called Argo, based on the ship maker. Hercules, I guess for a guy like Hercules, I expect a much more muscular guy. Because I think of Hercules, I think of Steve Reeves or Lou Ferrigno or even Arnold Schwarzenegger in that bad Hercules in New York movie. I'm expecting a really big buff guy, and this guy, like Jason, looked like more Hercules than this guy. This guy looked like, I don't know, Lloyd Bridges and Blown Away or something. It looked like with like a full beard. I don't know. It just didn't seem like Hercules to me. But I mean, it is what it is. Probably the least interesting looking Hercules I've seen in the film. I mean, even The Rock looks like Hercules. It's just that movie I didn't give a shit about. So they go on their journey. Now I say the Ray Harryhausen stuff is fantastic. Like they go to the Isle of Bronze, and they're not supposed to take anything, but Hercules and this other guy do, and the statue, Talos, comes alive. And the way the statue is like sitting there and he lurks and turns to look at Hercules, I thought that was like a cool, almost creepy moment. Like, oh shit. Go get it on. And step on your face. And its movement showcasing its size compared to the other regular men. I like the look of that. Later on, they help this blind guy with these harpies. I like the look of the harpies and the way that's done in stop motion. The Hydra, all the different heads. They didn't really go too much into the you cut one head off and more sprout. They didn't really go in that direction. I don't know why. Because usually think of Hydra, oh yeah, you cut a head off, 2 more, 3 more. They didn't really do that. I don't know why. I thought that was a missed opportunity. So that was a bit disappointing. Instead, Jason kind of just moves around and stabs it. And of course, the skeleton. There's like 7 skeleton men. When people think of Jason and the Argonauts, that's the one scene they remember the most. And it's understandable. Because the way skeleton are done are, for 1963, very mind-blowing for 1963. Nowadays, it may seem quaint, but it was a different ball game back then. Now, the guy who played Jason, a bit unsure on how to gauge his performance because the guy playing him is Todd Armstrong, but he was dubbed. I guess because the guy they got was more American sounding, and they wanted the guy, I guess, to sound a bit more British, I guess. So they dubbed him. I would say, I mean, with that said, he was fine. Sadly, I think the guy, the physical embodiment, Todd Armstrong, I think sadly he, later on, I think he shot himself in the head or something. Something like that. He did end himself, which is too bad. And yeah, after this, he didn't really do anything much in his career. Maybe a few little bits here and there, but nothing really that you would remember or think of. So, I guess this film didn't really take off like people expected it would. And Hercules, like I said, I'm not that impressed with the way he looked. I mean, he's better shape than me, but... And even then, he's not in the story much. Like, he's in there long enough to go to that island, and then they screwed up, and then Jason's given a clue on how to stop this statue, which is this thing by its ankle. And Hercules doesn't really do much of anything to stop it, and then he decides to stay behind on the island, sort of a penance. And among other stuff, there's another character that gets killed off that he blames himself for. And so there's no more Hercules. So it's like, wow, Hercules, the whole point of his journey was to screw up, get some people killed, and stay behind. Wow, what a great journey for Hercules. Which is probably the first time I ever heard that, believe it or not, was Hercules' Legendary Journeys, and watching that show with Kevin Sorbo. And they actually had the character of Jason the Argonauts. Sadly, they never did the Jason and Argonauts story, but they did like they're going on a journey again, and at this point, Jason's an alcoholic, and he's a shell of his former self, and Kevin Sorbo's Hercules gets him up to where he used to be, the man he was before. And I like that stuff, and I like that show, as campy as it is. I like Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, especially the first couple seasons. The last one or two seasons a bit, but the last good chunk I did enjoy that show. But anyway, back to this. So yeah, it was sad that Hercules didn't have much to do. Because you say, yeah, this is based on the stories of old, but with all these stories, they always change stuff. You know, they always change stuff, adapt it in different ways. Hell, look at biopics. Look at biopics of actual people of current time, I should say. As in, we have. It's not like we don't have video footage of some of these people. Like, we have video footage of what happened to some of these people today's age, and look how much they get changed up and twisted and turned to fit whatever narrative they want to speak of. So they could always do it, for these type of films too. Of a story of old being adopted to a newer time. And like I said, yeah, the Island of Bronze with Taos the statue. Yeah, another place with the harpies, and they capture him and cage him for this blind guy to help him up and show them the way. You have another bit with the sea god holding these rocks at bay back. And that's not really done stop motion. That's more of just a regular guy. I don't know if he was in just this body of water to come out, and they kind of superimpose him here while the other characters are here. And for the way it was done back then, I get what they were doing. Try to remind me later on when they did the Louvre No Hercules. And he got that thing where it became so big and he pushed the cliffs apart. I will point they get some survivors. One of them is Lady Medea. Not Medea from fucking Tyler Perry. This is a different Medea. Better Medea. So they get caught by this teen because they realize that they want to get the fleece from them. Whether leads to another, the girl instantly has fallen in love with Jason. Of course. Of course she has. Frees them. Jason gets the fleece. Stabs the Hydra. There's a 7 skeleton crew coming out of the ground. And that was some fun stuff. Him fighting the skeleton. Cuts one's head off. Even punches one. I do wish you had a knockdown drag out fight where Jason destroyed all of them. Like, actually beat, like, if there's, because there's 3 humans versus 7 skeleton. Maybe the 2 die, but they stop like 3 of them. So there's 4 skeleton men, and Jason has to fend them off, and he takes care of 1, and then takes care of 2, and but instead it's like they keep coming back, and he's got to jump off a cliff. I think this is why, as I'm going through all this, why I was left with a certain sense of disappointment. I don't hate the film, but a certain sense of disappointment. It felt like it just ended, and I'm thinking, where's the third act of this movie? It's like this movie cut off its third act. I think that's why I was a bit unsure of my feelings on it. Because the Ray Harryhausen effects, especially the skeleton work, are very wonderful to look at. The acting is fine. Like, I didn't notice any bad, horrendous acting. The score, I think it was Bernard Herrmann who worked on the score. I could be wrong on that, but don't have a lot of issues with that. A certain way characters are used. Like, they build up Hercules and this other guy with this discus, didn't really go anywhere other than they screwed up and one dies and the other stays. Just, oh, I'm sorry, I fucked up. But as soon as Jason jumps to the water, cuts to the gods looking over, Jason's there kissing the girl, and then it is done. But Jason, I will use him for another day. Great, using the bosom? Not abuse him, abuse him? Bamboozle him? What I mean by a third act is missing, he never gets his revenge on Pelias. Like Pelias, this guy that sent his, son or whatever to spy on him and try to kill Jason. He's the guy that this fleece is supposed to be used to overthrow Pelias and take control, and for Jason to get revenge for what happened to his sister, what happened to his family. I should say sisters. His family, his parents. He knows who Pelias is. There's going to be a knockdown, dried-out fight between the two. The Northern Fleece is used to heal Medea, but how he uses it to garner support and be this big battle journey. And no, I mean, you never see the journey back from where they're at, back to where they need to rally people, or fight Pelias, or kill Pelias, or none of that ever happens. It just ends. It just ends, and I guess, well, you have this, and like the love story, what love story? Like, they see each other, and then 5 minutes later, they're in love. There's really no build-up. There's really no, it's hard to even say there's any chemistry, because there's so little of screen time they share with each other to gather chemistry between the two. Because she appears pretty late in the movie, and then, like, within 5 minutes, she's in love, and I'm like, why? Oh, because the script said it right there. Yeah, see, right there. Right there, the script said it. So I do have issues with the film. I wish there was, a third act. I wish that he was able to get his revenge Pelias. Like, it felt like, nope, story's cut here. Well, what about all this? Nope. We weren't going and right here. Okay. I say I wish Jason had a more knockdown, dried out fight with the skeletons to defeat each one of them. I thought that would have been cool to see. Like, the fight was cool, but I wanted to see a finality to it, not just him jumping off and the skeletons just jump off and land in the cliffs. Like, you don't even see him really swim that much to the ship. It just cuts away to the gods, and then boom, he's on the ship kissing the girl, and there you go. I'm like, okay. I guess it's over. Oh yeah, the end. I guess it's over. Okay. So yeah, that's my issues with it. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't that bad of a movie. It wasn't that horrible of a film. I would never watch it again. The Ray Harryhausen points, I mean, you could probably watch them on YouTube. The harpies, the Talos, the statue, the harpies and stuff. Like I said, I would never watch it again. I'm sure back to the day, if you're a kid watching this and you just mesmerized, I know Peter Jackson and others, this is a film they grew up with quite a bit. But it's not a film I grew up with, so I can't share that sentiment. I can't. It's an old school journey, adventure story. But again, it's just, the lead, it was okay, but the fact he was dubbed, and it's like kind of hard to gauge the performance 100%. But for a dub job, I mean, I've seen much worse. Much worse. I said the Hercules not being utilized much, I mean, it wasn't boring. It kept me interested to see what would happen next. Really to see the next Ray Harryhausen effect. The ending, again, left me a bit blue-balled. Just a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it was okay. Yeah, I didn't hate the film. I've seen much worse movies. It was okay. It was alright. But that's just my opinion. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.